I started manifesting with Joe Dispenza's meditations 5 years ago, and since then, my life transformed completely. I fully healed my body from a debilitating condition that every doctor I spoke to labeled as untreatable. In the year 2020, I was not only physically broken, but also incredibly lonely, and today I'm in a relationship with the woman of my dreams. And when I did my first Joe Dispenza meditation, I had less than $500 in the bank. Now I'm on the road to becoming a millionaire. My life has changed on so many levels, and I'm convinced that you can experience the same. And that's why in today's video I reveal the exact action steps I took to manifest the health, love, and abundance I always dreamed of. The biggest life-changing moments that I experienced while doing Joe Dispenza's meditations, and the most profound lessons I learned on this journey of manifesting everything I desired. Now let's first have a look at how I healed my body from a condition that every doctor labeled as untreatable, and where every doctor I consulted told me that I have to live with it. And yes, there was a time when I was only able to do Joe Dispenza's meditations while lying down, even though he said sit up straight, but I just couldn't do it. Because in the year 2020, I had a surgery where a cyst was removed from my bladder, and then after the surgery I had severe nerve damage. And when I say severe, I mean that whenever I put my blanket over my body when I went to bed, I was screaming in pain. Whenever I put my boxer shorts on, I was screaming in pain. And thankfully, the universe guided me at the beginning of this journey to Joe Dispenza's book, You Are the Placebo, which then led to me right before my surgery, starting with blessing of the energy centers, and then after my surgery, when I had the severe nerve damage, I then also meditated with synchronizing your energy to health. And as Joe Dispenza always says, this was my initiation. It was a time full of doubt, suffering, and a lot of dark nights of the soul. In fact, there were many days when I thought about ending it all. Thankfully, I had a spiritual mentor on my side who is also a dear family member of mine. Without her and without Dr. Joe, I probably wouldn't be alive anymore. And because every doctor I consulted told me that I have to live with it, I had no other choice than to go all in. And this leads us directly to the first of 3 action steps that I took in order to fully heal my body. Action step 1, I did the blessing of the energy centers meditation every day. Yep, I did it every day, and the reason for that is pretty simple. In one of his videos, Joe Dispenza talked about how people healed all kinds of conditions with the blessing of the energy centers meditation, and one of these conditions was an enlarged prostate. And both before and also after my surgery, my prostate was swollen like a basketball, and sitting was so painful that I couldn't do it for more than a couple of seconds. And that's all I had to hear, to go all in. And it made complete sense to me because in his book, Becoming Supernatural, Joe Dispenza shared with us that the only way for us to change our lives is to change our energy. And the only way for us to change our energy is to change the electromagnetic field that we are projecting, which then leads to a completely different outcome. Now here's the truth. Since I began manifesting physical healing with Joe Dispenza's meditations, I haven't missed a day. For the past 5 years, there hasn't been a single day when I didn't do at least a 15-minute meditation. And being consistent is so important that even the universe wants to tell you about it. Consistency leads to mastery. And this leads us to action step number 2. I tried to act like the version of me who is already healed. And I have to admit that it wasn't easy to act like my healed self, because I couldn't run, I couldn't go to the gym, I could barely walk in the beginning. And that's why I did something that for a lot of people might seem strange, but for me it made a huge difference, especially for my subconscious mind. Because I had such a severe pain in my lower belly area, I was only wearing sweatpants while I was lying on the couch or in bed. And what I then decided to do was to, even though it was more painful, in fact way more painful, I decided every now and then, when my body could handle it, to wear regular pants, because that's what my healed self would do. And that was a way for me to put myself at least a little bit into the reality of somebody who was already healed. And this leads us to action step number 3. I visualized my life after my healing, not how my healing will happen. So many people get caught up in this trap that they try to figure out how their healing will happen. But that's not your job. That's the universe's job. Your job is to reach the frequency of wholeness. The universe will take care of the rest. I'll be there for you. Da 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 da. Yes, some people visualize how specific parts of their body heal, and Joe Dispenza took this path. In his book Evolve Your Brain, he shared with us that he spent 3 hours a day mentally reconstructing his spine, building each segment, and he even looked at hundreds of pictures of spines to perfect his mental images. I, however, took another path. Because I had no idea where the nerves that were damaged were located exactly, if it was my bladder area or if it was my pelvic floor area, I decided to take the path of visualizing, while I was meditating, myself being fully healed and enjoying my life again, going to the gym, going on walks, and, as you might be able to see here, enjoying my beloved basketball again. I saw myself playing basketball, I saw myself running, I saw myself traveling to foreign countries, and I felt so much gratitude and love while I saw these images. And I just want to let you know that many of the more than 60 guided meditations and hypnosis files that you receive as a completely free bonus, in fact, as one of many free bonuses for investing in my audio program, also focus on physical healing. You can find out more by clicking on the second link in the description. And I invite you to choose the path that feels right for you, the path that you feel will lead you to your physical healing. You might want to see certain parts of your body healing, or you might want to take the path that I did, or a combination of them. And then you will also experience life-changing moments on your healing journey. And what I want to do right now is to share 2 of these life-changing moments with you. And here's the first one. I mean, I don't want to go into too many disgusting details right now, but all I can say is that right after my surgery, I was, well, how should I say it, peeing a lot of blood. And what happened was that during a synchronizing your energy to health meditation, I felt energy moving from my heart into my bladder area. It wasn't a painful feeling at all, but my body was vibrating. It was such a strong sensation that I had to jump up from the couch I was lying on. And yes, back then I had to do all my meditations lying down, because sitting was way too painful. And once I had finished the meditation, I, as always during this time, had to rush to the bathroom. And to my surprise, or let me better say to my shock back then, there was no blood anymore. And since then, there hasn't been any blood anymore. Now let's have a look at the second life-changing moment that I experienced on my healing journey. And yes, I had mystical moments such as the one that I just shared with you, but most of my healing was a gradual process. But here's the tricky thing. When things improve gradually over time, it's easy to forget how far you've already come. You don't recognize the changes that have already taken place until you become consciously aware of all the different ways your body has changed. And I will never forget this day. It happened at a time when I was able to walk again, at least slowly, and I was taking a walk outside when suddenly I heard a voice speaking to me. "You can run! You can do it!" And yes, I was able to do it. This was the voice of the universe, and at that moment I began to run. It took me a while to realize what had just happened. For the first time after my surgery, I was able to run and my body didn't hurt. That's when I touched my lower belly area and felt no pain, no tingling sensation. I felt free, I felt whole. And on this journey to wholeness, I learned a very profound lesson. Don't allow your ego to limit your possibilities for healing. When I think back to my physical healing journey, I can confidently say that I can see so many different ways how my healing happened, and they all worked together in a beautiful sea of synchronicities. So here's what happened. Mystical experiences such as the one I shared with you. A direct download during a meditation with the name of a specific amino acid. Being guided to a homeopathic doctor in the weirdest way possible. My prostate shrinking to normal size in a time frame that my urologist called absolutely incredible. But here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of spiritual people would block number 2 and 3 because they would say, I don't want to see a doctor, even if it's an alternative doctor. But remember this. The universe sends us the synchronicities and the signs that lead us to our physical healing with the least resistance. Sometimes this means having a mystical experience. Sometimes this means receiving the name of a supplement during a meditation. And sometimes this means being guided to a specific healthcare professional. Stay open to all possibilities and your healing will find you. Now let's have a look at how my love life changed since my spiritual awakening in the year 2020. And it is not a coincidence that my physical breakdown happened in energy center or chakra number 1. And the universe knows this as well. You were shaboinking everyone and everything. Don't listen to the universe, it's completely exaggerating everything. Am I really? Let me say it this way. My unresolved trauma from feeling insecure about my scars from several heart surgeries in combination with unconsciously searching for my other half because my twin brother died during our birth might have led to me chasing a lot of potential other halves. So yes, that's the right way to put it. And as a result of this vibrational shit show, I was only able to attract partners who were equally incapable of bonding as I was, or I found a way to sabotage the relationships I had. Abandoning the other person first so that you don't get abandoned. The anxious avoidant attachment style makes so much sense. So yes, that was my love life, but then everything changed because Joe Dispenza told me to open my heart. My what? My heart? I am German, I don't have such a thing. In his book, You Are the Placebo, Joe Dispenza shares with us that when we love, when everyone else is angry and judging, that's when we become truly supernatural. And then my spiritual mentor said this to me. You were born with a congenital heart defect, and it is your purpose in this lifetime to heal your heart, to nurture it, to listen to it, and to teach others to do the same. And never in a million years would I have expected that this would actually happen. But today it's a part of my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift coaching program. So I guess my spiritual mentor was right all along. Now, what about my love life? Now I want to share the exact action steps that helped me to go from my chaotic love life to being in a fulfilling relationship. Action step 1, I opened my heart every day. I can't even tell you how many times I practiced brain and heart coherence until my heart finally opened up, because for weeks that thing didn't want to open. No, I won't open. You ignored me for 20 lifetimes and now you want me to open up? Nope, not gonna happen. Eventually, I established the connection to my heart. And nowadays, when I do brain and heart coherence in the exact same way as I teach you in week number 4 of my 8-week coaching program, I feel a strong tingling sensation in my heart. And remember this: your heart is your center of creation. It allows you to draw the experience you desire into your physical reality. Place your awareness on your beautiful heart and nurture it. And this leads us to action step number 2. Nurture your heart by acting like a heart-centered human being. The more loving you are to yourself and to others, the more loving the universe can be to you. Does that mean that I was a complete asshole before my spiritual awakening? No, I was always a friendly guy, but I really struggled with feeling love for myself and also expressing love to others. And that's why I started doing this. I gave more to others. I expressed my gratitude more often. I said nicer things to myself and about myself. Over time, I became a match to the love that my soul desired. Even though, to be honest, at this point in my life, I didn't even care so much if I was single or in a relationship, because I was just in love with myself and in love with my life. And this leads us to the first life-changing moment that I want to share with you right now, and I will never forget this moment. I was sitting at the beach after a delicious meal, listening to the waves, and I was so in love with life. Even though I was alone in this moment, I felt such an overwhelming feeling of love. I didn't know it back then, but that was the moment when I became a perfect vibrational match to my ideal relationship. The second life-changing moment happened when I already knew my girlfriend, even though she wasn't my girlfriend yet at this time. And I promised myself to be as open and vulnerable as possible, because I met my girlfriend right at the end of my recovery journey. And I still had a lot of insecurities about my ability or perceived inability to perform in the bedroom. And I then expressed these concerns to her. And she just looked at me and said this: "If I'll fall in love with you, then I'll fall in love with your heart and not with your anaconda." And no, she didn't use the word anaconda, but I wanted to be on the safe side with YouTube right now. And this might sound funny to you, but for me, this sentence meant so much, because for all my life, before my surgery, before my spiritual awakening, I, in a weird way, thought that shaboinking is the same as love. But in this moment, when I was so vulnerable and so open with her, and she gave me this response, my heart blew up and it just opened up wide. And in this moment, I was ready to let love into my life. And speaking of letting love into your life, this leads me to the biggest lesson that I learned on my journey of manifesting my wonderful girlfriend. Let love into your life when the universe shows you that it's the right time, even if fears from the past are knocking on the door. Always remember that your past doesn't define you, and your future hasn't been written yet. And yes, during the first couple of dates with my girlfriend, a lot of those fears from the past came up. A lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of fears of me maybe sabotaging it again or messing everything up. A lot of what ifs. And the more I then allowed myself to open my heart, to fall in love with life, and to then also fall in love with her, the less of an issue the past became, and the more I then created my future. And that's why I now invite you to share some of the fears that you have when it comes to creating your new life. No matter if you want to manifest love, health, or money, which is what we're going to talk about in just a moment, I invite you to write them down in the comments below, because sometimes sharing them and sometimes, just letting them out can help you to release them. And I promise that I will reply to your comment. Now let's have a look at what changed in my bank account since I started meditating with Joe Dispenza's meditations. And what if I told you that in the first couple of weeks of meditating for abundance with Joe Dispenza's meditations, my income actually went down. Yes, my income of my one struggling business that I had back then went down. And I'm not blaming Dr. Joe for that, but I just wanted to share it with you because despite that, I didn't give up. I'm a survivor, I'm not gonna give up. In fact, during one of the Joe Dispenza week-long advanced retreats that I attended, he said this: there are people in this audience who had to live out of their cars and now they are making millions of dollars. And this leads us directly to the first action step that I took on my journey to manifesting abundance. I continued to believe in my vision despite large fluctuations. In his book, You Are the Placebo, Joe Dispenza shared with us that continuing to believe in our vision for the future, while at the same time being happy in the present moment where we are, is the grand recipe for manifestation success. And that's exactly what I try to do every day. When I made the decision that I would become wealthy by doing Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, I then began meditating with the Tuning into New Potentials meditation, with the morning meditation, and with the Synchronizing Your Energy to Abundance meditation. And back then I was barely making $1,000 a month. And I then set myself the goal for $3,000 a month until my mentor coach back then told me to double it, which was for me completely crazy and out of this world, but hey, I did it. And in the first couple of months, my income was fluctuating a lot. There were months when it went up, then there were months when it went down again, and this could have easily led to me giving up. But I persevered, and today I'm making $30,000 a month because I persevered. And this leads us to action step number 2. I focused more on what I would do with the money than on the money itself. Yes, I also visualized the specific amount of money that I wanted to manifest in my bank account, but this was only one of the images that I used. I saw myself flying business class. I saw myself staying at the most luxurious 5-star hotels in the world. I saw myself going to the best restaurants. I felt the freedom of doing all these things and of doing whatever I want. Now that gave me the emotional woohoo to reach the frequency of abundance so intensely that hundreds of thousands of dollars were flowing to me. And now I want to share the one life-changing moment that completely changed the way I looked at money, wealth, and abundance. And this life-changing moment happened during one of the 3 week-long advanced retreats from Dr. Joe Dispenza that I attended. During one meditation, I had so many direct downloads from the field that I could no longer doubt that abundance truly is a frequency. All the product ideas and business ideas I received in this moment proved to me that all I had to do in order to reach the next level on my abundance journey was to reach the frequency of abundance more intensely and for a longer time. Shortly after this particular week-long advanced retreat, I doubled my income from $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month. And now I want to share the big lesson with you that eventually allowed me to reach a point where I'm now consistently manifesting $30,000 a month. Your monthly income always reflects your ability to reach the frequency of abundance, no matter how hard you work. Here's the truth that most people don't ever realize in this lifetime. You can work as hard as you want, but if you don't reach the frequency of abundance intensely and consistently, your financial situation won't change. The number of hours you work does not define your income. The only variable that defines your income is your frequency. Before my physical breakdown in the year 2020, I was working up to 12 hours a day and I was barely making $1,000 a month. Now I'm working 4 hours a day, sometimes even less, and I'm making $30,000 a month. Which option would you choose? If you also want to make more money, double or even triple or quadruple your income while working the same hours or even less, I invite you to go to affirmation2manifestation.com/abundance or to click on the first link in the description to find out more about my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. And on this page, you can watch countless video testimonials from previous coaching clients, and you can also have a look at the very special bonus session that you get exclusively for joining this month. Now, what if I told you that I've watched more than 800 testimonials on Joe Dispenza's official YouTube channel to figure out exactly how others have manifested their abundant dream lives? If you're ready to discover the laws of abundance that these people used to create more wealth, more money, more abundance in their life, I invite you to watch this video next.